All right, now the next thing we're going to work on here, guys, is to add motion to our tires. In order to do this, guys, you got to have your assembly open. Right now, your tires should be kind of spinning when you click and hold on them. Okay, so the tires should turn, they should spin. What we're going to do is lock them down with what is called a work axis and a work plane, and we're going to add motion to them. So what it looks like when we are finished is you will have a drive constraint over here in your browser. You'll go to drive constraint and you'll hit play, and the wheels will turn and move on their own. All right, so in order to do that, we got to add those constraints. Now, the first thing we want to do on this, and this is for you guys out here following along, we want to double click on our front wheel to open it up. So go to your front wheel and double click on it to open it up. Everything else should gray out, and only the front wheel should be open. Up here at the top, under work features, okay, we have work plane, and then right next to that, a smaller button is called work axis. Click on the work axis. Now, we want a little yellow axis to go right through the center of our wheel. So what we're going to do is zoom in on the wheel, and you have a circle, kind of a round piece right in here. We want to click on that ring, so that way I get a work axis going right through the center of that front wheel. The next thing I'm going to do is go over to the browser and find the one that says front wheel right here. Everything else should be grayed out. If you look at your browser, the Dragster front wheel should be white because it's open. There's an origin folder right here at the top of the front wheel. Okay, everybody see the origin folder? We want to plus that origin folder. Underneath there you have built-in work planes. We want to click on the YZ work plane. So just click on it to highlight it. We're going to go up to plane. So in your tools up here at the top, go up to work features, go to plane. Click on plane. Then we want to click on that yellow axis that we put on the wheel. Okay, so that yellow axis you just put on there, click on that yellow axis. It'll pop up and ask you for a degree. Just type in 0 and hit enter. It'll put two work planes, one on the left wheel and one on the right wheel. Everybody good? All right, hit escape to get out of work plane. Then I want you to right click in an open area. So somewhere in your screen, right click in an open area. Just right click in an open area. Go to finish edit. That'll bring you back into assembly mode. Okay, now I want you to zoom out. And we have to do the same thing to the back wheel. Okay, so double click on your back wheel. Go to work axis first. So up in the work features, go to work axis. Click on work axis. Go down to the back wheel. Click on that same ring in the middle to put a yellow axis going through the wheel. Go over to your browser. Find the Dragster back wheel that's highlighted in your browser. Find the origin folder. Hit the plus symbol next to it. Click on the YZ plane again. Go up to work features. Click on plane for work plane. Click on the yellow axis. Set your degree to 0. Hit enter. Then right click, finish edit. Now, when you get back into assembly, guys, those work planes are going to be attached to your wheel. So if you grab your wheel and spin it now, those work planes will turn with the wheel. Right click, finish edit, Stone. I'll get you back in there. Okay, now, the first constraint we're going to do, guys, is an angle constraint. And we want to get our wheels locked in together. So we're going to start, and it doesn't matter which one you start with, whatever side is facing you, we're going to start with the back wheel. Okay, so go to constraint. We want to switch the type to angle. we want the middle solution right here. So angle, then undirected angle, right here in the middle solution. Now you got to be careful when you choose. Don't pick the tire when you choose. Make sure you get the work plane highlighted, because you could choose different parts on the tire as well. We want to zoom in and make sure we only select that work plane. Your work plane will highlight. So you want to kind of do it in an area that's not covering the wheel, because sometimes you'll make a mistake and choose the wheel. Make sure you only get that work plane. So I choose the work plane on the back wheel, and on the same side, okay, so the same side of your car, go to the front wheel. Make sure you're on the same side. Choose the front wheel work plane. Then hit apply. Now, if you close out of your constraint panel and you grab the back wheel, now the front wheel should turn with that back wheel.
Oh, wow, that is so cool.
Now, we have to do the exact same step to the other side of your car. Okay, so if you did the front side of your car, now I want to do the back side. So we go to constraint, go to angle, middle solution, choose the back wheel work plane. Again, make sure you get that work plane. Then choose the front wheel work plane. Hit apply. And again, now those wheels should be locked into each other. Now that we have our back wheel constrained to our front wheel, we're going to constrain all four wheels together. So I grab one wheel and all four will turn. So I go to constraint. I want to do the angle constraint again, so I go angle, middle solution, and we're going to do the two back wheel work planes. Okay, so I go the back wheel work plane on the right, then the back wheel, and make sure you're getting those work planes, guys. Back wheel on the front, and I hit apply. Now if I close out of my constraint window and I grab one tire, all four tires will turn. Now the last step I want to do, I want to lock my tires down. I'm going to do an angle constraint between the back wheel work plane, and I need a flat part on the back of my car. Okay, so it's got to be flat here. I got to make sure I pick a flat part on the back of my car. Okay, so if I go constraint, and I want to switch to angle, middle solution, I choose the back right work plane, and a flat part on the back of my car right here where the air hole is. It's got to be flat. It can't be rounded. If you have a rounded back end, I can come over and help you. So I choose the flat part, then I hit apply. Now, if I grab a wheel now, it's going to be locked down and it's not going to turn, which is what I want. I don't want them to turn, I want them to be locked down. The next part of this is to go ahead, and now we're going to use the drive constraint and drive our wheels as opposed to clicking and holding and turning our wheels. Okay, the way we're going to do this, I need you to go over to your browser on the left-hand side right here. Scroll up to your Dragster body. Okay, so find your Dragster body over there in the menu. Hit the plus symbol next to the Dragster body. The very last constraint on your Dragster body, so like for me, I have Dragster body, then it goes to Dragster front wheel right there. So the very last constraint should be an angle constraint. We're going to change the name of that before we drive it. Okay, to change the name of a constraint, you simply single click on that constraint, move your mouse away from it, then click back on it, and it'll highlight and allow you to change it. We're going to change that name to drive, D-R-I-V-E. and you just click away from it, and it'll change that to drive. To drive your wheels, you want to right click on the drive constraint, go to drive constraint, then you can hit your play button, and it's just going to move a little bit. The reason it only moves a little bit is because our ending right here, so you have a start and you have an ending, your ending's only at 10 degrees. Okay, so it's only moving 10 degrees before it stops. So I can change that to a larger number. If I want to spin a lot, I can change that to 1,000. And now I hit play. But if you notice, it's going really slow, isn't it? Okay, so hit your stop button. Next to where it says OK and cancel, right here, you have two right arrows. Those are called more chevrons. If I hit the more chevrons, down here under increment, this is your speed. So your increment is your speed. Right now it's set to 1 degree. If I change that to 10, and now I hit play, it's going to go faster.
Oh, I'm going fast. Can you change it to that? Oh my god. 10,000 is so fast. My direction is fast.
And that is adding motion to your car. Now, the last thing I want to do here, guys, okay, so your last step, I don't want these work planes to show. Okay, I want just the tires to be the ones that are moving, not the work planes. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, I'm going to double click on the front wheel to get back into editing mode. So I double click on the front wheel. I find the front wheel in my browser, and I'm going to shut the visibility off on that work plane. I can't delete it because my constraints are attached to it. So I right click, and right there where it says visibility, I uncheck it. I also want to turn that little yellow axis off. Underneath the work plane right there, where mine says work plane 5, I don't know what your number is, but mine says 5, I'm going to hit the little plus symbol next to it, and that work axis is underneath the work plane. So I right click, shut the visibility off on that. Then I right click, finish edit, and I have to do the same thing to the remaining 3 wheels. So I double click on the other wheel, go to the work plane, right click, uncheck visibility, plus it, go to the work axis, right click, uncheck visibility, finish the edit, go to the back wheel, shut the visibility off, plus it, shut the visibility off, right click, finish edit, go to my 4th wheel, shut the visibility off, and shut the visibility off on the work axis. Right click, finish edit. All the parts are now locked down. If I go back up to the browser, I can work on setting up my car to do the drive constraint.
Excuse the interruption. If you have a late South Staff parking lot, your
Right.
parking lights